really. It's not that I'm like full in love with this film. I think it is interesting. So yeah, but Jewish Lord of
That's
the Rings is
much,
the.
but that's much more than I
I
think
think you
I
should
think
put
of
it
it.
in the tagline. Jewish Lord of the Rings. We'll put it.
Sanjeev, you see how much in the next coming years people do this. Like it's so designed to be like that, which is my annoyance also. Like I know the fans will like really stamp on this Jewish Lord of the Rings. It's so hilarious, it's so funny, whatever. And I'm just like, who cares?
I
Who
understand. I get
cares?
it. Okay. Hello. I mean, okay, we start now. Sorry. Hello. Welcome back to Queen is Dead. I'm Sanjeet. I have Dhruv with me, and today we discuss this small indie film, low budget, by this
Low
very
budget.
indie director. Uh, the, I'm joking, of course. The film is Beau is Afraid, directed by Ari Aster. It's not streaming yet, but it's in cinemas, which is where we watched it. And
Unfortunately.
okay, you
Yes.
already started, huh? You're not even waiting. Okay,
Uh,
but could you tell what the film is about, Dhruv?
Should
What do
I?
you?
Okay.
Yeah.
I have written down the plot actually, which IMDb has given, and it's actually very accurate. So, for once,
Uh,
so it's very
hmm,
basically following the sudden death of his mother, a mild-mannered but anxiety-ridden man called Beau. Is it Boo, Bo, Bew, whatever. I keep on
yeah.
saying Bew for some reason, but whatever. We'll say
I know.
Bo.
Even I was saying that until recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bo.
Anyways, Bo confronts his darkest fears on an epic, very long, this is what I would also add, uh,
Mhm.
Kafka-esque Odyssey back home. Very apt description, I feel. Like,
Pretty. Yeah. They're very honest about what they what the film
yeah,
is
it
about.
is very honest. Everyone is very honest about what this film is about. Even the director is honest that it's long and indulgent and funny and
Have you
wacky
seen the
and
short film though?
etc. No, I haven't. How
So I
short is
watched
it?
it. No, it was I think not even 20 minutes, but like I watched it, but now it's not there on YouTube anymore.
Ah, yeah, I
So I
heard
guess they
this.
removed it
Yeah.
for purpose because
DVD release,
uh,
man.
possible, maybe that's the idea
Yes. Yeah.
to sell it more. I don't know what is the reason.
Yes.
But it
Anyway,
was kind
Sanjeet,
of like similar.
but you were saying it's a small indie film. You can also illuminate people on how much money it was made for, how much money it has made, how much money it will cost A24, and
I mean,
how the director himself said that A24 will lose money.
but that
After,
you got that information. But
anyways,
yeah,
yes,
the at least whatever sources are stated on the internet,
yeah,
it states it's made on a budget of 35 million,
yeah.
which is quite a lot.
For
But
A24, especially, I think it's the most
for
expensive film.
A24, yes, everything everywhere was 25 million,
Imagine,
which was at some point one of their expensive
yeah, yeah.
tentpoles. But that's the thing, they make so much profit off of these. I think they can stand to lose something for
Of
something,
course they can. I wish they stood to lose something on something better, but yes. Anyways.
I think a lot of the financing for this film came because Joaquin Phoenix came on board rather
Okay.
than Ari
Got
Aster.
it. Got it.
Because
Got it. But Joaquin
Joaquin
Phoenix is
Phoenix is
a
coming off. It's
saleable
coming off
star?
the back of Joker success. No,
Ah, yes. Fair
Joker
enough.
made a
Fair enough.
$1 billion, right? How
Fair
much?
enough. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
I
Agreed.
guess,
Agreed.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was made on whatever 40, 50 million Joker that I'm talking.
Yeah.
That made like so. At least they think he's a
Fair enough.
bankable star.
Yeah.
At least he's
And then they
popular.
see this.
See, movie
May-
making
ima-
people
yeah.
who finance make they have this some kind of delusion.
Yeah.
I think, and it's part of the business. I think you cannot
Yeah.
be far from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but see, technically speaking, now when I'm reading
Hmm.
Hereditary,
Yes.
which was made on a budget of 10 million,
Yes.
did a box office of 82.5 million.
Yeah. But that's a smart
Um,
investment.
Midsommar was made on a budget of 9 million, a
Hmm.
million lesser than
Somehow.
Hereditary, and it made
Hmm.
48 million.
Yeah.
So I guess he had some pull, no? I mean, he's
Ah,
showing his
100%. I mean, but that's the horror movie model, no? Like that's the sensible horror movie model, I feel. Like where you make it on like sensible lower budgets and you get some profit in any case. They market all these films, at least
in a certain way.
Hereditary and Midsommar, at least they did to like accentuate like the horror elements. I think Hereditary is still that, has a lot of that. Midsommar, I
Midsommar
think,
is a
is
little
not a
far
horror
off.
film.
No, no,
Like
it's.
to for me at least, it's barely anything.
I
Anyways,
mean, see,
I'll
I
be
think
snarky
his
because of it.
horror.
Yeah.
No, no, it's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, we need some dose of snarkiness in every episode anyway. It's like a need at this point. What I was
Yes.
saying was, I think the way he probably thinks of horror is the nightmare take of it, right? Which
But
I
like I
feel
mean,
makes
no, but I
sense.
think Hereditary is scary. Like I don't mean like jump scary. I mean like it is nightmarishly scary. I don't
I
think
know,
Midsommar is. So that's my
but
perception at
Midsommar
least.
is like kind of like nightmarish vision, no? And and
Daytime
I thought
nightmare, yes. It's like folk
that's
horror.
what I'm trying to say.
It's folk
Wicker
horror.
Man, no, folk horror, correct, correct.
Yeah, but Wicker Man is
So
scary.
yeah, but I think the context is also a little different there, no? Technically.
It is different, but then it's also so much like the Wicker Man that I'm like, you clearly want to be a horror film, but it's also like that again, the elevated horror where it's basically
I
where
think
I yes, sir, say
more
sorry.
than elevated, I feel I think he wants to become a genre in himself, being inspired by
Mm,
these classics and trying to make his own kind
it's a
of
very
his own
charitable way of
interpretation of it.
putting it, but okay, fine. Like I see, I'll be very honest about my. I have reservations for all his films. I like two-thirds of
Uh,
Hereditary a lot.
Tell me. Mm-hmm.
Uh, I like it until it becomes like a full-on satanic thingy. Basically, I like
Mm-hmm.
the family trauma horror where it's basically like an
Mm-hmm.
Ingmar Bergman film almost. Like
Drama.
yes, basically like a horror drama. Midsommar, I
Mm-hmm.
like the opening 10 minutes, and then the rest I just don't like.
I think he'll still be
Uh,
obliged with that you like 10 minutes.
what the first? I thought the opening, whatever he does with that is fine. I mean, Florence Pugh is great in it, but then Florence Pugh is great in like every movie I feel
In a lot
she
of
does.
bad things, yeah,
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of bad.
So, but I know that
Yeah.
Midsommar has its own fan base. I know you are a fan. I know everyone on the podcast is surprisingly a fan.
Midsommar is. I'm not a fan of it. I see. That's the thing. I think, and I think it's a good segue into discussing initial thoughts about
Yeah.
Boo also.
Hmm.
But I feel his films are interesting, which I think. I mean, the term could be loosely put into many contexts and everything if you look
Yes.
at it that way.
Yeah.
But I just feel we kind of think of a lot of films in very binary ways, right? Like
Hmm.
good, bad,
Yes.
not working, working, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it kind of becomes about if it is interesting, like if
Yeah.
there is an idea, if it more than intent also, if it has some sort of interesting take on something. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it has to work all the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm
No, no,
not
I get what you
telling you
mean.
now only
Yeah. Yeah.
Who is Afraid didn't work for me completely, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you start thinking in that way, then I guess it'll become like a fairly one-sided conversation, right?
No, no, I
It's
don't.
good, bye.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not a. See, I'm exaggerating
Hmm.
my
No, no,
the
no, no, not
bads.
you. I'm not
No, no,
saying
no, no.
you,
I'm
but
also doing that,
uh,
but I admire Midsommar on a basic craft level. I admire the fact that
mhm,
he's fashioned a breakup film as a horror film. Like
a
I
horror
like that.
film.
It is
Correct, correct.
on a basic level. I like that. But then if you have to watch a 2.5 hour film about it, that
Hmm.
the way he does it, the way he communicates that idea to me never strikes as visceral or even nightmarish. In Hereditary, it does for a while, I feel.
Yeah, okay.
And in Beau is Afraid, it doesn't, but I almost admire his. Okay, so I wrote that I admire it on the level of taking one scenario of this man who's anxiety ridden, who's,
Hmm.
mild mannered anxiety ridden man, putting him in different scenarios which are sort of different types of genres and films. Like it almost feels like he's in different films all the
Multiple,
time. So I
correct, correct,
like
correct.
that on a very conceptual level. The other thing, bit of context I'll also give is that he had in New York, he had planned a film retro film series of the movies that sort of
Mm-hmm.
influenced him, I think, for Beau is
Mm-hmm.
Afraid. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I've not gotten into this director's work otherwise. Let me see what stuff uh, that's interested him, and
Mm-hmm.
that might help me understand his films better. That might help me understand his uh, movie taste, or like whatever inspirations he's drawing from
Mm-hmm.
better.
Inspirations, correct.
So I ended up watching a couple of them. I didn't watch all of them, but I'll tell you the ones that, like, the types of films and
Mm-hmm.
directors he's referenced. There's Guy Maddin, a Canadian director who makes like really
I know, I
wacky,
know,
experimental,
I know.
Like
Yeah.
Freud on fuel sort of narratives. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you think this is high on Freud, his the movie that he recommended, that Ari Aster had programmed, called Cowards Bend Their Knees, is like a 1 hour version of
Mm-hmm.
this, but like with the Freudian aspect cranked to like 100 or 20, 200. So it's something else, and I
Okay,
think it's a
okay.
great film.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then the other ones he cites is the Czech New Wave, which I don't have much sort of
Warm might have.
familiarity with. So I don't know much about that. But then there's Jacques
Mm-hmm.
Tati, who he cited Playtime as one of his inspirations. Powell and
Playtime, yeah.
Pressburger for A Matter of Life and Death, which I think he basically lifts one entire scene and places it in Beau is Afraid. So I mean, again,
Okay.
I think it's interesting to see his film after these films, because I feel a lot of times, when you see people describe the inspiration for their work, as a person who's
Mm-hmm.
watching it, you're trying to connect, oh, how did this sort of inspire, or whatever, how did they even take this idea and implement it in their film sometimes. Whereas when
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing Beau is Afraid, I couldn't see beyond those inspirations only. They're so, like, they defined the film itself. Like I felt that watching the Guy Maddin film, The Coward Bend Their Knees, I was like, he's done exactly what Ari Aster is doing in an
Mm-hmm.
hour, and in a way I found at least much more challenging and interesting, or whatever. So, like, that's my
Mm-hmm.
take on it. And then there's the reference to I always forget the filmmakers' names, but they've animated one of the sections in Beau is
Okay,
Afraid.
okay.
Cristobal
Okay, okay.
Leon and Joaquin Cochinia. These are the people who made The Wolf House, which was also programmed.
Oh,
Uh,
what?
yeah, they
Are you serious?
animated. Yeah, they animated the sequence in Beau is
Oh
Afraid
shit.
that happens.
Okay, okay. I
So
didn't know
so
that.
yeah. So no, so all that was sort of. So I was pretty. My argument is that I was
Ah,
into this film from a very basic level, because I was going in with a lot of I had seen a lot of the stuff that he was inspired by. So the
so you
film
think
itself.
the inspirations are very surface level, is what you're trying to put.
I think the inspirations are the film. Like, it's not like the film. And he's not referenced Charlie Kaufman, but
But
the
Kaufman is like
Kaufman
Sindoki.
is looms over this like anything. Like, it's
New
so
York.
Charlie Kaufman. Synecdoche, New York is all
Yeah.
over this. Even Lynch has
Mm-hmm.
some of the surreality of, or sorry, whatever you want to say, is kind of in this. But yeah, just the like, I can admire it on that conceptual level, but like, when I was actually sitting there watching it, I was noticing the
Mm.
frames more than the character. I was noticing his construction more than the drama itself, and then it just
That
kept
is
on
again,
going
yeah.
on and on and on and on. Even the scenes which I like the animated sequence, or like, there's basically a sequence
Mm-hmm.
which has some animation to it,
Correct.
innovative animation to it, and it's the type of sequence I generally dig a lot. But when I was watching it, I was just like, this is just
Mm-hmm.
going. I'm like, I understood the point. I don't want this to. I don't like. I'm not immersed in it at all. So,
Very recurring theme for you, throughout the film that way.
like, it is basically one thing repeated five, six
Mm-hmm.
times almost, and then again, the interest lies in if you're laughing or if you're amused. I feel.
So,
So yes,
okay,
you go
let's
ahead.
let's
No,
just
no.
get into like little
Yes.
initial thoughts of just say like two lines what you felt about the film. Just. I know you've
So I
spoken.
think the two lines is this only: admiration on a conceptual level, but annoyance and boredom
Mhm.
on every other level. So I was very much like, yeah,
I think,
shrug was my basic emotion
yeah.
after while watching it and after watching it. I was like, just what do I
Yeah,
do?
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I think more than interesting, again, I think I understand what you're trying to say, because
yeah.
I mean, it's the same film we watched, and I understand like what kind of reactions it would incite. And again,
Hmm.
it's that whole polarized thing, right? Either you love it, or you hate it. Like these kind
I
of films
don't
have
hate it.
that
Just to
kind
be
of
very clear.
fandom.
Yes, yes,
No, not us. I
yeah,
think in
yeah,
general, I'm talking
yeah.
like for like a very general audience. But you have this either this fandom or this complete hate, which
Hmm.
you also might remember from the film Mother by
Yeah,
Aronofsky.
yeah, yeah. That's the other film that I got reminded of, and a lot of people
People love,
referenced, which like,
but isn't
yeah,
it obvious about the surreal nightmare
yeah. But I feel Mother
human
is like a roller coaster, and this is like a ferry go round. What ferry? No, what क्या बोलते हैं वो जो where you keep on going in
merry-go-round?
circles? Merry go, not ferry go round.
Merry-go-round.
Merry go round. Yes. So it's
Yeah.
different. Like there are different amusement parks, I feel. So like amusement park rides. Like Mother mein, like there's
Mm.
an escalation or like you keep on going and then it like throws you whatever in a nightmarish state.
In a
Like it
nightmare,
builds and
proper
builds and
nightmare.
builds and builds and builds and
Builds,
builds,
builds, builds. Correct,
and then it
correct.
sort of crashes. This kind of
Mm.
has that loopiness to it. So yeah.
I think, and I think let's indulge even further more
Yes.
in discussion. I think in the beginning few movements, mm, the whole aspect is very funny, which I didn't
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
And I was laughing because I thought it was like it's not very slapstick also, but it has
No, no,
those
it
slapstick
approaches. Oh, Jacques Tati, he's reference, which clearly says that he's going
ex-
for like sort of,
that makes sense to me now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, the
Which,
slapstick.
and like I can say it, and I'll give you an example of like the like the demographic of the audience which I was with. Like I'll
Yes.
reference it with respect to that, because I was with my three other friends,
Hmm.
and it was the four of us watching,
Yeah.
and we all genuinely seemed to love the beginning of it,
The first act
because we were
is
like, this
this.
is so weird, so
Yeah.
funny, and okay, and also it's like very episodic in nature, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, very much so.
so first episode is when he's in the building and all that in the street.
His house,
Second
and he's
episode
trying
is
to
the
leave the house and he has an anxiety attack basically. And
correct.
yes.
Second episode would be the one with the family,
Amy Ryan and Nathan Lane, the two,
Amy and
the
Nathan Lane.
sitcom, the
Correct.
glorified sitcom.
Funny.
That's yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Third episode is the whole jungle
Jungle
scenario,
and the animation. You include both
animation.
together, right? Yes.
Fourth is the house.
The meeting with the
Correct.
mother, right? I think.
Correct, right? That's the, yeah,
Yeah,
meeting with the mother, fourth episode. And
yeah.
the fifth is the last judgment.
A matter of shrug and death, as I titled it. So
Yeah.
yes,
So five episodes in a way. So
yes.
now coming more into it, I think the episode one was bloody funny. Like it was just laugh out loud funny, which doesn't really
Hmm.
happen that often. And also it was probably stemming from the fact that I didn't expect it was going to be that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I was like, oh shit, this is like so funny, and like everyone was having that kind of reaction to it.
yeah.
But come to the second episode,
Yeah.
there is that eerie, those parents meet the Johnsons.
It's very like I actually think
Ari Aster typical.
that might be my favorite episode of the lot actually. That might be
Okay.
the second one.
I mean, I like the second one, that the
Yeah.
family dynamics, like
Yeah, yeah, it was
in a
very, yeah,
what do you call that?
it was kind of very much straddling the humor and horror ka line, a
Horror.
very like first act I didn't mind, but I wasn't laughing like you were. So I was very much like,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, it's a interestingly like stage sequence, the way
Uh-huh.
people are sort of, and but I was not like, so I was with an audience also which was all very, very quiet. So it was
Mm.
just, I was like there and I
Okay.
was like, whatever, fine, good, good work. But then it's the beginning, right? So you're at least like engaged in the beginning also. From my perspective, I was
Correct.
like, okay, I'm like interested in, oh, this is happening, that's happening. Like also he's
But
a
could
good
you?
director. He's a very good
Yeah.
visual director.
Mm.
So like he knows how to
Mm-hmm.
like stage a sequence. The way he creates suspense in some scenes is very impressive.
Like the
So
whole key sequence is
yeah, yeah,
so so good. Like, and
Yep.
even to come up with that idea, like, like it's like something when even I'm leaving my house, I'm always like scared if I
Yeah,
took
the
my keys out.
anxiety building of that phase. Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, he cranked it up to whatever 10 or
Yeah.
something.
Did you
Second episode
notice all the
again,
graffiti on the wall in that first episode? Like,
I
which
did,
is
I
all
did, yeah,
very
yeah.
well. Like again, my one of my issues with his films, I think this kind of was with Midsommar also, is that his shots almost tell you too much. You know, like the graffiti will tell you that where you are. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
there's no like
Hmm.
this is no one can think that this is reality. Yeah, because this is his headspace
Yeah, yeah.
only.
His own reality.
Yes, his own
Yeah, so
reality.
basically,
Yeah.
it's trading on its own logic. It's not
Yes,
trading
yes.
on
So
whatever.
let's so वो
It has its
realist का
own.
argument मेरा नहीं है. Like I'm not going to say that
Huh. I
this is
mean,
not
it's null
realistic.
and void that way. Correct.
It's not meant to
It's
be. Yeah,
not. Yeah, it's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
But what more do you think about the second episode? What do you think?
So no, I mean, I think it's just so I guess it was more or less that I found that the most amusing. I still won't say funniest because I laughed fairly little in the whole movie. So which is a
Mm-hmm,
big
mm-hmm.
problem or like big restriction for me because I think that you laughed a lot and that's why you were much more into it than I was
In the first half,
in
yes.
the first half.
Mm-hmm.
So,
First
but no,
episode.
but the second episode was interesting. Like I was interested in like just how ridiculous some of the like again ridiculous the dynamic was between Phoenix, between these two parents who take him in and their teenage daughter who ends up drinking paint. Very weird.
Eating blood
Like
or drinking
yeah,
blood.
whatever
Oh,
it was.
sorry.
It was so
Blood,
like
paint,
again
paint. Yeah.
paint. Yeah, yeah. So it was
Mm.
like it had that air of slight air of mystery still, where
Mystery, correct.
where you were like thinking about how this will sort of go from here. Why have they kept him in? Why like their niceness is like that sort of niceness where you think it's fake, and it's all
It's
like
fake.
lit, and the whole image is I think very bright in that section from like the
Yeah,
previous, and it feels so
yeah.
artificial. So I think that
And
really
like the color of that last thing that we were talking about, the blue thing also, it's just so standing out, and
yeah,
it just it pierces through your like thing,
yeah.
like it just
Yeah, I mean, I
hits you
watched
at
it like
some
a
time.
long while back, and I still remember a fair bit, so I have to give it credit for
Yeah,
that
yeah,
also, right? So,
yeah.
yeah, so no, absolutely, no, that sequence I thought was interesting,
Hmm.
because there were sort of dynamics which is sort of floating around and all. You were
Hmm.
there again. I think he keys you in too much. Like there is a so we are doing spoilers and all, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there is a quote unquote twist in later in the film, which I was like, yeah, I assumed that his mother
But
would be alive.
it's not enhanced or like punctuated in any way, right?
Huh,
The
I mean,
twist.
he also tells like, whoa, he keeps on focusing on this thing that they attach to his leg, Joaquin Phoenix leg, I think the
Correct.
beeper, which like is
The
like a
the
security
tracker,
device tracker, yeah.
tracker. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I kind of understand where all this is coming from. And like, again, like too
Hmm.
much keying in of the audience. I'm like, you can like lessen that a little bit and I'll probably be more intrigued, kind of like that. But whatever.
But okay, sorry. Continue. Continue.
No,
Continue.
that
Then
only
I'll come.
you can say.
But I was going to ask you, like, what do you think? Like, I mean, what do you really mean? Like, what could possibly have been done instead of that? Then, do you have
I
any
mean,
idea,
like I just felt that just
or
like
some other
this
reference
in
that you
like
could probably?
I so I'm the memory of the film is a bit hazy for me now, but I feel
Hmm.
there are instances in the film where he consistently cuts to like recording shots of like he's being recorded almost like there's a TV screen
Hmm.
monitor. So
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
if you kind of have gathered the pieces whatever he's laid in the beginning, it's almost like you can fix it too easily. Like there's too many,
Hmm.
or maybe it's the result of me watching the films that he recommended.
Inspirations.
And I was
Hmm.
like, I know
Possibly.
what this is about. So like, can we do something else? Or like, can we? Because I checked my time at the fear of the house, the sitcom situation, and I was like, Jesus Christ, there's like an hour and a half still to go. So I was like, there's a lot of time
Oh, it
left. So
was
where are we
nine.
going?
No, I think more than hour and a
More than
half.
hour and a half,
Mm.
then yes. And I was just
Yeah,
like,
at that point, yeah.
this is very I don't know.
There's a lot
So
of film after
there's a
that.
lot of film left after that, and then we will move to the jungle where you can say
Jungle Apple, which I felt was like a good, mm, I like the aspect that he's being chased around. Like I feel that
Hmm.
is a bigger nightmare in that sense. But when he lands up there at the forest, in the
Yeah.
jungle with like these nomads, these hippies who are kind of performing
Artist becomes a
theater, stage
performer. It's
play,
a very art
and
house
then
cliche at this point, I feel like the whole
I know, but
art
like
and
blurring of lines and all that
yeah,
in performance and in real life and all that,
yeah, yeah.
which I thought was good in terms of how you can fit in the story. And I think I'll come
Mm-hmm.
back to this later also when I have to
Yeah.
make a point about something,
Mm-hmm.
that how it kind of becomes very existential
Mm-hmm. It
in
is.
that sense.
That's
Like
the section that feels most like the Kaufman synecdoche.
that's
Because
what I was
that
going to
film is
point
all
out. Yeah.
about creating a film which never ends and like it's just keeps on going on and on and on and on and on. Yeah.
But that's the thing. When we are talking about this section as well, like looking
Yeah.
at from start to end,
Mm.
it's not concluding.
Mm-hmm.
So you're always left with this. Okay, what about that? I mean, I'm still left. Like I
Mm-hmm.
haven't finished that yet.
Yeah.
And that always was at the back of my head when I was thinking about when we had already moved to another chapter
Chapter.
post
Okay.
that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I kept thinking, like, what about the last? Like, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
so. I have like it fully
Closure for the
like
last. Yeah. Yeah.
concluded. Yeah, because if there's no closure, then what kind of a journey are we really on? I mean, it's although I guess it's internal, but then
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that internal is projected outside, exterior,
Outside.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
the point.
Yeah.
Um, then I thought that there should have. I mean, again, it's the whole case of should have been, could have been, and all that, and
Yeah. Could have been. I think
it's
more
not
than should have been. Yeah. Yeah.
that I felt if they had somehow figured out a closure to that, it
Hmm.
would have been more. I mean, it's not even about
No, but
okay.
I
It's
actually think
about
Sanjeev, what
satisfaction also, no?
no, but I think what you're bringing up is interesting. But I feel almost you could do a lot of this by montaging a lot of this, right? By parallel, by showing because in in the jungle section, he is being chased around by someone. He's being chased
Hmm.
around. But the whole when he goes into the whole performance section, it just goes on and on and on. I think it's a probably a 15-20 minute almost existential section
Easily. I
and
can't wait to
you
watch it when it comes
kind
on
of just
streaming.
forget about the whole thing that's happened, so like the tension kind of
I
just
know. It wears
dissipates, like
off.
it totally dissipates. So
That's where I'm coming. That's where I was coming to for like the
hmm,
existential bit. Like you also kind of start thinking about these things. I don't.
hmm.
I mean, I was kind of engaged until that point
No,
for
no,
sure.
I see, I loved the animation. I thought the way it was done was very beautiful. Like, it was very like unique and like it had that quality
Yeah.
of being artificial but also like real because it's sort of like the music in that
Hmm.
section becomes very
Bloody good
somber.
animation. Yeah.
So yeah, so like
Also,
all
we
that
can
stuff.
plug in Wolf House, huh? Just because we
Wahi, the
have done
Wolf
it before.
House.
Again,
Yes, yes. The directors
people can
of
watch
that, who was
animation.
who did the animation here.
It's
So,
what's the original title in
La Casa
Spanish?
Lobo.
La Casa Lobo, correct.
Yes.
So
So
if people can watch it, I mean, it's a great film.
yeah.
Um, so what I was coming to was
Hmm.
like since it did not end,
Hmm.
when we start the next chapter, which happens at his home, like his mother's house.
I was
Um,
thinking, how does he get there? Do you have any idea? Is it just that he gets knocked down by the guy and then he gets taken to the mother's place? Is that what happens?
no, he walks. He walks.
He walks?
He
Okay.
walks. Yeah.
Okay.
He gets out of the jungle, I remember, and then
Acha,
it's
haan,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah.
funeral company packing stuff after the
Acha, yes,
funeral.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, yes, okay. Got it.
I guess, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
So I think so. I mean, it's been 15 days for me also since
Yeah,
I
yeah,
watched it. So even
yeah.
it's not that. And then he walks around the house. So I was, and when the film ended,
Hmm,
all this while I was thinking was that the first to the third episode is a bloody good film.
hmm.
If you had made it as like a act one, act two, act three,
Yes.
you could have ended the film there. It would have still
You could
worked, I
have
feel.
ended with the whole him basically becoming like the theater troupe or whatever. Like, yeah,
Something again, yeah.
yeah.
And I was, but when it went to that this fourth episode, which we are going to speak about,
Hmm.
I all throughout I was thinking again we start from the beginning. Like it's
Yeah.
again a whole act in itself. So we have a setup, we
Yes.
have a middle, we
Yeah.
have an ending in that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are we doing this again? And at that point, I was exhausted
Yeah.
when that began. I was
But I
like,
think
bloody
that's the most like
ended at this point.
that's also the most explicitly, that's where the
Out there,
most of the surrealism wears off, except for like,
wears off.
there are
The
still elements of it, but it's still like complete. I thought it just totally lost steam at that point. I was just like, where are we? I mean, the Parker Posey sequence is pretty funny. I'll give you that. The one where he has sex with
uh,
his
oh shit! I was laughing my way
that
when
sequence was
you.
quite funny. Yes.
I messaged you about that. I think, yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Like
that sequence was
I was
quite
laughing in that
funny.
part also.
So that was funny, but then there's a whole movie still left to go with the mother and the son confronting each other, and like the control, which has been told again and again in the whole film. It's been shown already that it's about him being
Mm.
controlled, guilt ridden, etc., etc.
By his mother and all
Yeah,
that.
by
Yeah,
his
yeah,
mother, like Freud, whatever, etc., etc. Like, I
yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there's so much that's been done by then that I was just like, why are we
Mm.
still going on? And then it
On
just
I
keeps
completely
on
understand
going.
because I was like, no, I mean more than that. There are these shots of him slowly walking when that whole section begins, and
Mm.
I was like, do we really need so much of
There was
like?
apparently a
I don't need a
4 hour
breather.
cut.
I know. That was
So
the
there's
whole
a
rumor,
director's
like
cut going to
like
be
last
released
year, right?
also.
Like last year. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll watch it. I haven't seen this Midsummer director's cut either, which is
You
like another
can tell me
25
how
minutes,
it
whatever.
is.
I don't think so. I'm gonna watch that. I'm very sorry for that. Uh,
Okay.
no, but then again, that's what I'm saying. Like chapter 4 became like this whole walking bit. I didn't need a breather.
Yeah.
If it was still in that flow, maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know, and
And then I
although
think the trial at the end is absolutely useless, I think. Like it's such a
I think so many times throughout the film, I was like, okay, this is a great ending shot. Oh, there's
yeah.
more. Okay, let's watch.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a great ending shot. Oh, there's more. Okay. Like that whole where he takes the boat and starts
Yeah.
going. I was like, okay, it's like great. Like he's just going somewhere in
Khatam.
the night,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
middle of the sea. But then what is the trial? I didn't want
The
to see
trial,
that.
I swear to God, it's such. I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
I understand you like the Powell and Pressburger movie, Mr. Astor, but please don't like
Uh,
just take it and like
lift.
situate every. It's
So
very
this is the
it feels
film.
very
This is
lifted.
the sequence
This is the
which.
Powell Pressburger film in which they use this concept of heaven and earth, and like
Mhm.
heaven isn't is shot in black and white, and earth is shot in color. Like it's a flip side of
Oh,
Wizard of Oz.
interesting.
So yeah, like it's so the whole heaven thing is the trial, where the trial happens about a man's life, who's ending and all that. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, that
Mm-hmm.
film is very sympathetic, very like full of life, and this is just like this basically by the end it's blaming his mother as much as it's blaming him, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's getting,
yeah.
I don't think Ari Aster has that much sympathy for Beau, which can be seen as a
At all.
stand-in for himself. If he wants to, I would assume there's
I
some,
don't.
he's suffered from anxiety or whatever, like etc etc etc. So
Yeah, that
possibly,
is okay.
but which is fine. Like I actually like this whole aspect of not just blaming the whole thing on the mother and doing the self, but like it just
Self pity.
ends at a note which I was just like, I don't care, like, and I don't care in
I
the,
agree.
like the
I
boat
agree as well.
capsizes and I was just like, and the whole audience leaves to like mimic our reaction almost, and I was just
Our
like,
reaction.
and I was like, why, like why did we have to be here for like 3 hours to see this? Like that annoyance sort of set in, and then I was just like,
I think it was
whatever.
again like how you've mentioned like previously before. Like it's like when you clearly tie your laces and like it's like a not laces like it's like tying a bow on a gift.
Bo, yeah, Bo,
Yeah.
nice. uh
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, we have to find a title now from something to do with like tying bows and whatever. I don't know. Uh yeah,
Dying
now I'm
bow.
thinking, yes.
Um,
Dying bow.
but the last bit is just that, like legit,
Yeah.
just like tying a knot
The
on.
whole
Like you don't need
fourth and fifth
that.
section is that, no, I think. Like the whole,
But
like if
I think
you
again, my
yeah,
uh,
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
No,
Go
no,
ahead,
I
go
was
ahead.
saying that if you leave ambiguity after, yeah, as you said, the third section, you'll people will draw upon it. Like this is like you are like
Huh.
just going on. Like it's again, A24 gave too much leeway, which is a weird thing to say for like.
Hmm.
It's always weird to say that a director probably needed to be told
But
off, but
like, do
probably.
you think, do
Hmm.
you think Ari Aster might have sat in his editing, whatever
He
editing
must
suite
have,
and
yeah.
and seen that 3 hour cut also and would have been like, this is okay. It's, I mean, do you think
I
he was
guess
that
it's
objective to
too.
know it's a 3-star movie for him? Do you think that happened with him?
No, I don't like. I'm guessing
I'm
he's.
saying that why? Because like you mentioned this to me that, I mean, I didn't see any of his interviews till now, but you
Yeah.
were mentioning that he was pretty aware of what he was making.
Yeah, like he was
And
basically saying
okay,
that, oh,
I am
I'm surprised
quantifying
that.
it in that like 3 and all out of 5, but like I
Uh-huh.
didn't mean it in that way.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. I'm
I'm
saying
just
that
saying.
he like he it was so this so we can move a little bit towards the reception of the film also, right? And I think that's what's
Hmm.
annoyed me more than the movie, because the movie for me was very much a shrug, is what I've told again and again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So no, the reception, I think it's just this whole idea of, the movie is designed like it's so like,
hmm.
is there something called designer art house? I don't know. Or like
होगा
it,
होगा अरे
it,
ड्राइव what do you think?
but that's
Drive is
good
that, no?
designer art house. I feel.
But like I'm trying to fit in films in that genre, no? Designer
Yeah,
art
I
house.
guess so. Like the whole, I guess the stylishness is fine, but I feel it's more to do with the director also being so imposing about the fact that I'm surprised. Firstly, I'm also surprised, but he's surprised that A24 gave 35 million to him for making this movie, which will have, which won't have an appeal. It's a Freudian nightmare which lasts 3 hours long. So I'm sorry, there's
Yeah,
not that much of an audience for that. uh Even
not at all.
David Lynch struggles with this, I think, when he does like Inland
Yeah,
Empire and all that. So I mean,
you
it's
mentioned.
yes. so so I mean, like it's a bit bad, and also it's just so like, yeah, like I think he said again and again that don't try to make sense of it. It's stupid and all that. I'm like, don't say this. Like,
I think
don't
he's
say
undermining
this.
it. He's undermining it, I think.
I don't know. Like I just find it so. This is the same case with Mother. With Darren Aronofsky's interviews were the worst thing about the film for me. He kept on.
I haven't seen it.
He took kept on explaining the film only to everyone. And so I was like, "What are you doing? Leave it alone. Like, don't tell people what you thought. Just leave it. It's good.
Hmm.
It's good like that." But yeah, it's just too much. Like, um, I don't know. Like
Sadness.
no, it's like holding the audience's hand in a different sort of way. It's like, come here and come here and uh and watch
Let's
our
play.
really weird, wacky uh
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
movie and like enjoy it.
I
I
guess
don't know.
again, I think okay. Before I say other things about the film, what do you think about Joaquin Phoenix's performance?
I
And I'll tell
wasn't
you what the
entirely
general
sold on
reception
it.
also.
Hmm.
Okay,
But yes, go ahead. I'm interested to
I
know.
think we like the audience embodying Boo was much more, like it was happening much more than Bo expressing
Hmm.
too much. Like you can see fear, and like that
Yes.
fear translating as humor for us at
Yeah.
times. But sometimes you were asked to step into his shoes when you were like the
Ah.
camera was behind him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that bit was about for you to experience it, and I
Yeah.
think that kind of took away something from Joaquin's performance. And
Hmm.
I'm being very
Interesting.
critical, but it's not as if I feel it was bad. I still think
Hmm.
he's great,
Hmm.
but I still think the design of the film doesn't allow him to
Yeah, I agree.
have a memorable performance. Memorable, I
I
don't know.
agree. I mean, I saw flashes of like a really good. I saw flashes of Inherent Vice ka comedy. Almost.
Mm,
There's that very, he has
fever
a,
dream.
yeah, no, fever dream, but like even his performance has that like 1 2 moments where he's like
I know,
really
I know, I
quick
know.
to
I
react, and like when he shouts is both comical, like hilarious, and like really,
hilarious. Yeah,
and it really like pulls back at it. But his performance felt like he felt a little lost, which is fair enough. It's the film and the character is
the
supposed to
film is
feel
about.
like that. but
Mm-hmm.
I think there needs to be a connection to him, which is sorely lacking, I feel. And which is why the whole Kaufman thing with Philip Seymour Hoffman in Synecdoche, New York, because I have
Mm-hmm.
my problems with Synecdoche, New York. Like, I don't think it's a perfect film. I think it's very, very unwieldy. But I think Philip Seymour
Mm-hmm.
Hoffman's performance, like, just is in the center of it, like giving all the emotional cues that you need for that film to grasp onto, which is not. But I also think that Kaufman is slightly more sympathetic to his character. Like, I don't think Ari Aster is that sympathetic
Ari Aster
to.
isn't sympathetic. He just
Yeah,
wants him to get tortured and experience that kind
self-hatred,
of thing.
self-pity,
Self-hatred, self-pity.
yes, whatever. Just
I mean,
fine, great
it's part of.
emotions to have, but, like, I don't know, it's hard
But
to sustain over three
it's not.
hours.
It's not terrible, right? Joaquin's
Huh.
performance. You wouldn't say that.
No, no, no. I thought it was. I didn't think it worked for me, but, like, I can see why it might work for someone else, in a sense. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
was more. I think his performance is like that sort of performance is very reactive by design, right? Like, it's supposed to be very much. He's
Mm-hmm.
passive.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. He's a bit
It's
pathetic.
like.
He's a bit pathetic, which I think Phoenix is good at playing. Like, the
Mm-hmm.
whole pathetic nature of it is so. But I think Aster doesn't give him enough stuff to even like just grab us into the whole thing. Like, he's like, what's the Hereditary thing where it's about the doll houses?
Mm-hmm.
He's like
Mm-hmm.
one of those mannequins, and he's being sort of thrown apart into different
Puppeteer. Yeah.
puppeteering. Yes, another Kaufman film, being John Malkovich. But yes, he's like a puppet. He's being puppeteered
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
different scenarios, and so it's like, how
Yeah.
much, what all can you bring from that is a different sort of dynamic, I feel. So
Mm. I still think there's like a lot of merit to the film. Like again, I'll
yes, yes.
reiterate. Like I think if it was the first three episodes, it's a good film.
Hmm.
It's a good film for me, I feel,
Hmm.
because it's going through three different emotions
Yeah,
and then kind of get
yeah,
concluded, not being the last 1 hour, 10 minutes of overlong
yeah,
that
yeah,
guilt trip,
yeah.
which it
I
is.
mean, the whole film is a guilt trip. It's just a matter of, like, how much of a guilt trip you're also into. Like,
You're
I
also, yeah.
into, yeah. I mean, I was, yeah, just
Last thing before ending, what do you think about the dick monster thing?
didn't laugh. I didn't even notice it's a dick monster. I think I was too sleepy at that point, honestly. I
Oh
almost dozed
shit.
off. See,
Oh
I
shit.
watched this is another weird thing. The movie I watched before this was another A24 movie. I think so at least.
Which one?
Kelly Reichardt showing up, in which basically
Ah, the new film.
you have to look into to find meaning, or, like, you have to look into, because it's so understated. And this went so overboard that I was just like, oh, like, I was tired off at that point, and I was just like, I will look back at that dick monster scene though, maybe, and see if it's funny. Did you find
I
it
just
funny?
felt it was a little out of place.
Okay. Out of place in this
Just
movie,
in at
in
that
which
in that episode.
people's legs are being attached, and, like, people's heads are being blown off, and whatever. Yes,
And some there were, yeah, I mean that's why I'm saying that it's, I mean it's again it's I felt it was like it came in at like a wrong escalation bit
got it.
in
Is it
in the
after
whole
that where they
episode.
go to heaven or hell or whatever it is? After the dick monster, right?
Uh
He falls down from the balcony, or, like, the attic. Sorry, uh,
attic.
Joaquin Phoenix
Attic, the whole
does.
attic.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. And then there is the whole argument with his
You
mother
know
and
which
then
movie I watched after watching this? Just
which
to
one?
get my. I guess I was I was both annoyed and a bit frustrated. Like, let me see how the Coens approach this in a serious man, because I like the Coens a lot.
Ah,
Because it's a similar
you've
sort of
seen Serious Man?
Jewish, yeah, a serious man.
I love Serious Man, yeah.
It's very good, but it's also, it has that element of repetition to it, because it's about
Anxiety
a
also is there.
anxiety. It's a very
Mm,
similar. So again, lots of films that
correct,
came to my
correct.
mind that while watching this, which is not the best sign, I feel, for sometimes watching while sometimes watching a film like this.
I think I would still give it to, I mean, I'm not annoyed by it. That's okay. But I would still give it credit for being interesting. That's again, I
Yeah, that's
reiterate
fair
before
enough.
ending.
I think I can't recommend this just from the. I mean, I know. Also,
See,
our audience will watch it regardless. Like people who listen to our podcast will probably watch it just
yeah.
because they like Ari Aster. Uh,
I think that's the reason they'll watch it. I mean,
yeah.
because it's Ari Aster, no other
No,
reason.
it'll
And the whole
divide his fan base also. Like I don't think it's one of those films which will be,
possible,
yeah, be just
possible,
like
possible.
it won't. Like
Hmm.
his fans will also be divided. It won't be appealing to everyone within
Possible.
his fan base.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah.
Let's see. I think we'll put a poll. Like, did you like it?
Did you like
So that
Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid?
Bo
Yes.
is afraid. So that at least we get a
Did you
demographic
no, we
of.
should put did you finish Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid? That would be
Okay,
more
okay.
apt.
Just to be more snarky on your end. It's okay. Let's do it.
Yes. Listen, I sat there, okay, for all 3 hours. I didn't even leave to get like a
So
water
did I.
drink. Are
So did I.
okay. But you
I
were
I
enjoying it
I
more.
took your advice. I took your advice and
You took
I bought
coffee.
a
Yes,
packet of
I didn't get
coffee
anything
and
to
so
eat also. I was nicely just sitting there and watching. I was like, whatever. It's
I
fine.
took corn puffs instead of popcorn this time. I was like, shit, I can't eat popcorn. But anyway, okay, I think we've discussed
Fun discussion though. It was
in.
funner, like a fun discussion of a film I didn't have fun watching at least. So it's
I mean,
fun.
more than fun watching again. I guess it's about like Scorsese also said, right? I mean,
Oh,
he's
he's a
like
fan of the film also. I know. I know he
fearless.
held an
No, more
interview
than
with,
fan. I think
yeah.
I think more than that, his words kind of make sense in
Hmm.
today's context of cinema making.
Hmm.
That for me resonates, which I feel we should
You are
support. Which
editing this, right?
people,
So you include his words if they
yeah.
are
Was it
online.
a spoken interview? I think it was a written
Acha, it was written.
piece.
Okay, never mind. Then
I
maybe
don't know.
you
I
can
have to
record him like you can record
someone
imitate.
impersonating Marty. I'll ask Hemant to do it. He
Yeah,
does a
you
good
should.
Scorsese
Yeah.
impression.
Wow. No, one of the most extraordinary new voices in world cinema, right here.
Yep.
I've been around a long time, so I've seen movies that split people right down the middle. Like, people love it, people hate it. You know what I'm saying? There's like, I don't forget the first. There was a big screening of at the Cinerama Theater in L.A. in '76, I think, for Barry Lyndon, and only a few of us were there. A few friends of mine and some people, well-known people, but they got up. They were furious. They hated it. Hated it. 15, 20 years later, they can't stop watching it. Something happened. In terms of the originality, when it's that original, you go into it. It's like a bullfight. You go into it, and you're in the arena, and you're going to get gored here and there because it's a matter of the risk-taking that's so unique and so powerful that there are very few filmmakers now on this level that are doing that, I think. No, it's remarkable body of work so far, really.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, I think again, I'm saying this for like I don't know the fourth time in this episode. It's an interesting film. There's a
I
lot
would
happening in
so
it.
yeah, no, I don't want to
You might
dissuade.
relate, might not
Yeah.
relate.
No, I don't. I think most people won't. I mean, people who relate, please see a psychologist. I think you need one.
Therapist,
Yes. Anyways,
you were saying something?
no, I was just saying that please, if you are interested in this type of movie though, which is shorter, please watch the Guy Maddin film, Cowards Bend Their Knees.
Hmm.
It's fantastic. And yeah. And Powell and Pressburger's A Matter of Life and Death is always worth watching. Powell and Pressburger are always worth
In
watching.
general.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is pretty much about the film. I think we have a different set of views about the film,
Yeah, but
and
we were civil about it, I think.
we was very, very, very civil about it.
Yeah.
There's no aggression, only love. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please tell us what you think about the film as well. You can DM us about it.
You watch it.
Our socials are, I mean, yeah. Also, please follow us on Spotify at on Queens at Film Podcast so that it reaches out to more people. Please share it with friends. It really, really helps us. You can follow Dhruv on his Instagram handle at Terminal Cinema. You can follow me at pixel_baba. You can also follow us on Letterboxd for our general views on other films that we don't speak about. Again, thank you so much for listening. Please share, please follow, hit that follow button, hit it. I don't know what more to say anymore. Thank you so much for listening. End of the episode. Khatam.
This is not 3 hours long, so it's fine. I think. How long is this?
This is less than 40 minutes.
Okay, perfect. As the movie should have been.
There's nothing I can really say. His support means a lot to me and is almost embarrassing to talk about. But yes, in my opinion, he's the greatest living filmmaker. And also, more than anybody, not only among filmmakers, he's done more for film preservation than anybody ever, just as an archivist. And the way he champions other filmmakers is very beautiful, and I've always found it beautiful. So it's surreal to have that extend to me. My favorite Scorsese film, it's impossible, you know. I might say Raging Bull. On another day, say Goodfellas. On another day, I could say Silence. On another day, I could say King of Comedy, Taxi Driver. I could say Age of Innocence. It's impossible. I could say Casino. It's very impossible. There's no body of work like his. There's no career like his. It's really shocking. And what's really amazing to me is that, you know, he's in his 80s and he's, I think, working at arguably his highest level. Like that the last 10 years has been, I think, one of his richest periods, starting from Wolf of Wall Street, especially going through to the film he just made. You know, it's pretty incredible.